Welcome, everybody, back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about our thoughts on the Bob Melvin interview. Now, I thought it was pretty cool, just some of the stuff that he said, just about, the Friar Faithful, stuff like that. But I want you to start out, man, because you were actually at the game that he referenced in the interview. So do you want to talk about what you thought about Bob Melvin's comments?
Yeah, in the game he's talking about where he was talking about how it felt like a playoff atmosphere game, 40,000 fans. It was the day after we got Adam Frazier, and I could see why he's saying that, saying how the A's don't really get a lot of people at their games, and going from there to like a Tuesday night game where you probably expect half of the stadium to be filled, maybe like 3/4, and you're going to a packed house. And I remember when Fernando hit the 2-run bomb, the whole place went crazy, and it felt like a playoff atmosphere. I don't know what it feels like to be actually at a playoff game, but that's probably it. So I could see why he said that. It was definitely fun for the fans, apparently fun for them too. But I think something that really stood out to me was just his desire to win. Obviously, that's going to stand out to a lot of people, but especially just because not only did he say how passionate he was about winning, but the reason being because this could be his last stop as a manager. And to me, that just says, like, damn, he really wants to win. I didn't feel that from Jace Tingler. Jace Tingler's interview, he looked timid. He didn't look like he owned being the manager. Like, he was there, but he was, of course, it was his first time addressing the media and everything. But at the same time, this guy, Bob Melvin, he owned that interview. He looked good. He sounded good. Like, everything he said just made me excited. So it was definitely an exciting interview, especially when he considers, saying Fernando's the best player, the best young player in baseball, calling Manny a perennial MVP candidate. Like, you could say he's kissing up, but those are just facts. This roster is built to win. I think he's going to do a lot of good things for this roster and really this organization. I think he might be what turns around this organization and gets us winning for years to come. I've seen people compare this to when Bruce Bochy left the Padres to go with the Giants. Only time will tell with that. However, this guy, everything he said stood out to me. Just really, 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 really good things to hear from him, and his desire to win is what stood out to me the most.
I'm 100% with you when he said that he was talking with the Padres of days, and when he said that he got the offer, that it was a complete no-brainer. That speaks to how much talent is on the team. We knew the talent that's on the team. We just needed the right manager. And what he says is completely correct. When you go to San Diego, especially with the team we have that early season, it was always fun to watch. Crowds were completely packed in. They believed in this team. They had the team's back 100%. It was good and fun baseball to watch. And then you saw the second half just wasn't so. And you know what? Hopefully Bob Melvin completely changes that around. He makes better decisions. He keeps the analytics. We got our pitching coach. I mean, this season is looking really, really bright. I loved everything he said in that press conference. He loves the environment. He loves the players. He knows this team's capable of it. And just kind of hearing how much he wants to back San Diego and take this team to a World Series. Really excited for the season and ready to see what he has at manager.
I was actually going to talk about how he said it was a no-brainer decision to join the Padres too, Chase, just because I feel like that was such an impactful statement, just saying that he went there and that was his clear plan. Like, at least that's what it felt like, that's exactly where he wanted to go. Like, that was his number one priority for his offseason and his future, is that he wanted to move to an organization like that. He talked about how he really praised the fans a lot, which is a little bit different from I think what you typically hear. You hear people praise the fans, but he was talking more about just the environment of baseball in San Diego and with the star players that the Padres have. You guys both talked about the talent that the Padres have, and I think it's been there, but a lot of times it feels like the Padres have performed underneath their talent, especially last season. And there were a bunch of guys that did that. I think Trent Grisham did. Will Myers was around his numbers, but it felt like a lot of guys. And I think Trent was the big one. And then almost the whole pitching staff. But it felt like a lot of guys just didn't quite perform where they had in past seasons. And they were underneath, their averages. And Bob Melvin, Niebla, guys like that. Like, and we'll see like how else the staff fills out. But it seems like their main priority is to get those complementary pieces around Fernando, around Manny, around Joe Musgrove, all of those other pieces to play up to the level that they're capable of playing. And with Bob Melvin, I'm a lot more confident than when I was with Jace Tingler. And honestly, with a lot of the other candidates that were out there, it felt like, not all of them, like there were definitely people that I liked a lot, but I think Melvin is probably one of the people that you don't have to worry about, like, are they doing a good job in the coaching department? Because that was something that had been concerned about for a few years. And now it feels like, all right, like they've made the strides to go really try to win. So super excited there. But anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah, he brought up how, he's been trying to communicate with some of the players. He's been communicating with Manny the most. So, the captain and his new manager being able to communicate so early on in the hiring, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a big step in the right direction for Bob Melvin that he's taken so early. Of course, that's what all managers do, but we saw how apparently none of the players respected Jace Tingler after his tenure, and who knows if they even did coming in. But there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Everyone was discussing how AJ Preller had said that he wants to let the manager bring in his guys. Well, watching the interview, they asked, I think it was Marty Caswell asked Bob Melvin, do you plan on bringing anyone from the A's organization over here? And he said, no. I wouldn't say that he said no. He said that it has to be an organizational decision. It's not just going to depend on him, but he wants the organization to give approval as well. However, looking at it, I would say it's not likely that someone comes from the A's organization. I believe he was either let go or he declined to come back. But some hitting coach from the Red Sox, he either got let go or decided not to come back. The Red Sox average the most runs in the league, I believe. I'm not sure, somewhere up there. And I think he'd be a really good hitting coach for this team, seeing how easily got a lot of slack. I was talking a lot of slack, but yeah. So who knows what kind of moves Bob Melvin's going to make? I'm really excited to see what he does. Either way, I think he's got a bright future in San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Preller said that he wanted the manager to have a giant say in who the coaches was, but I think, you couldn't wait. If you had the chance to get Niebla, you go out and get him. And then kind of with the Bob Melvin sign, kind of came out to left field for most of us fans, because we were all expecting like Ron Washington, Jeff Bannister, like all those guys. And then next thing you know, hey, the Bears have hired Bob Melvin. And everyone's like, where did that come from? But honestly, I think this is probably the best signing they could have got. Hopefully he brings a couple of guys from the A's organization, just so he has a couple of people he trusts. If not, go out there, hire multiple coaches. That's like my only thing left on this wish list is hire multiple coaches in each category. Get a few hitting coaches, get a few pitching coaches to just help Niebla and let him spread his pitching knowledge to the pitching stuff the best way you can. That's the only thing I got left.
Yeah, the final thing that I'll add too is, and this was more, I think, about Niebla, but I saw a quote basically talking about how he does such a great job taking statistics and different measurements from pitchers and applying them and finding like what actually needs to be improved. And I think that's something that we should expect, especially from him. And I know that we're talking about Bob Melvin, but really from this whole coaching staff. And I think that's something that we've seen in the A's organization, that it seems like they're always on the forefront of like, making improvements to the game. Like one of the franchises that does them, the Rays, the Red Sox. I feel like those are like the three that are really on top of it. The Giants lately, the Dodgers have been, there's a lot of teams that I feel like they're usually like ahead of the curve. And I think Bob Melvin's been in a situation where he's been around that. So I think that's going to help a lot. But outside of that, I think that's it for us. Thank you all for listening. We're gonna finish up our off-season plan, and then later this week, probably on Saturday, we're gonna have Ryan Segman about what he's expecting from this not what he's expecting, but what he would do if he was in charge and like his whole off-season plan, which he has a lot like other smaller moves than us. So it'll be really interesting to hear. But yeah, so looking forward to doing that stuff. But we just wanted to get something out real quick on Bob Melvin's interview and just kind of where we're standing with him a little bit after the hire, because we only did our live stream right after it happened. So cool to talk about him a little bit more here. But thank you all for listening, and we'll talk very soon.